Hello guys, welcome to Grammar and Writing Lesson 35. Let's start things off with our vocabulary. First of all, we have our prefix focus, sin. This is pronounced sin, S-Y-N, sin. And it means with or together. So when you see that prefix, that little piece coming in front of the word, you know that the word is going to have something to do with being with something, being together with something, juntos. So our first word is synchronize. Synchronize. This means to cause to work at the same rate or happen at the same time with something else. Work at the same rate means basically the same speed, or it's happening at the same time. Synchronized swimming, that's when people swim together. Synchronized skating, they skate in the same way. Our example sentence says the jeweler synchronized the watches. So they put the watches at the same exact time. Synchronized. So it's together because it's at the same time. That's where that sin comes in. Our next word is syndicate. Syndicate. This is a group of individuals or organizations that join together to accomplish a single purpose. So they come together for one idea, that joining together of a group, either of just people, individual people, or organizations, that's where you get the sin. For example, the American Council of Exercise is part of an exercise syndicate. That's a group of people who join together to decide things about exercising, ejercicios. No idea what they do, never heard of them before in my life. I don't even know if that's real. But anyway, they're part of an exercise syndicate. They come together. Synonym. Synonym. This is a word that means the same as another word in the same language. Now that's important to note. It's in the same language. I wouldn't say that, for example, all of my Spanish is leaving me. I wouldn't say, for example, that por favor and please are synonyms. Yes, they mean the same thing, but they are a different language. A synonym is a word that means the same thing as another word. It's just in a different language, or excuse me, in the same language. You just choose a different word for whatever reason that you want to. Okay, for example, fatigued and tired are synonyms. They mean the same thing. They're just different words, but they are synonyms because they mean the same thing. Okay, let's practice. Fill in the blank with the correct vocabulary word. Number 1, the group of swimmers must blank their strokes to make their dance uniform and impressive. So which vocabulary word would talk about putting their swimming strokes together so that they are uniform, they are the same? Number 2, the Greek prefix meaning with or together is Number 3, the San Francisco Chronicle cooperates with a large newspaper blank. And number 4, the word little is a blank of the word small. Okay, pause your video if you're not done to make sure you write down those words correctly. Number 1, the group of swimmers must synchronize their strokes to make their dance uniform and impressive. Number 2, the Greek prefix meaning with or together is sin. Number 3, the San Francisco Chronicle cooperates with a large newspaper syndicate. Number 4, the word little is a synonym of the word small. Very good. Let's move on. Today we're talking about forms of writing. So go ahead and pull out page 62 that says forms of writing at the top. You'll need that to complete today's lesson. We're going to do some of it together in the lesson, and then you'll finish the rest on your own. So a form of writing is a particular structure or shape that a piece of writing takes. So it's how you're going to write something. Your purpose in writing, what you are trying to accomplish with your writing, usually determines your form. For example, If you want to show people, that's your purpose, to show people how to use a Blue Birdie Bosch machine, obviously that's a made-up thing, you will probably write instructions. So that's your form of writing would be instructions because you're showing them how to use something. But if you want to persuade people to buy a Blue Birdie Bosch machine, you will probably write an advertisement, something that shows off the machine, not something that tells you necessarily just how to use it. Let's These are obviously not all of the forms in the world, but there are 15 forms that we're going to go over just so you have a better idea of what forms you can use. Number 1, we have advertisement. That's an announcement in a public medium, so that means like a public place, promoting a product, service, or event, or publicizing a job vacancy. So that means an opening for a job, a spot where someone can fill a job position. So an advertisement that it's in a public place, so like Facebook, a newspaper, or something like that, magazine, the television. It's an announcement promoting something. An announcement itself, that's a formal public statement about a fact, occurrence, or intention. So an announcement just tells people this is going to happen. Book review. That's a critical evaluation of a book. So you read a book and you tell what's good about it, what's not so good about it, what was in it, how well it was done, that kind of thing. So you evaluate the book. A cartoon is a simple drawing that sometimes shows the features of its subjects, so the people in the cartoon, in a humorously exaggerated way. So it can exaggerate things. For example, if someone has a large nose in real life, in a cartoon, it's going to be huge, things like that. Editorial. That's a newspaper article expressing the editor's opinion on a topical issue. So an editorial is a newspaper article showing the editor's opinion on something that has come up. Okay. Instructions. That's a direction or order of how to do something. Instructions tell you how to do something. A joke. That's a thing that someone says to cause amusement or laughter, especially a story with a funny punchline. That's a joke. Journal entry, that's a record of information. A lot of times it's very personal, but it doesn't need to be. So a journal entry is a record of information. A letter, that's a written, typed, or printed communication sent in an envelope. That's all it is. A letter is a written, typed, or printed communication, usually sent in an envelope. Sometimes it's not. A movie review is an analysis of a movie expressing the opinion on the movie, just like a book review, except with a movie. You analyze it, you tell what you think about it. Newspaper article. That's a piece of writing that is published in a newspaper reporting something. So it tells of some event or something that has happened. A play is a piece of writing that tells a story through the actions and words of characters, and that is performed on a stage. A poem is a piece of writing in which the expression of feelings and ideas is given intensity by particular attention to diction. That's basically how the words sound, sometimes involving rhyme, rhythm, and imagery. So it's basically a very beautiful piece of writing. It expresses sentiments and feelings. Short story is a story with a fully developed theme, but significantly shorter and less elaborate than a novel. So basically a short story is just that. It's a short story. And then our last one that we're looking at today is a speech. A speech is a formal address or discourse delivered to an audience. So that's basically when you give a formal announcement to someone, you're giving a speech. Okay, let's practice. Now this is from your homework page. So I want you to make sure you have out page 62. It's your directions say for each purpose, find at least 2 forms of writing. So you need to think of 2 forms of writing that would best communicate your purpose. Obviously, you might have a different idea than I would. So these are just suggestions of some of the better ones that you could use. There are some that would not work, but most of these have more than 2 forms that would work. Okay? So for example, number 1, the purpose is to share the features of a good book that you just read. What do you think you would do? Look in that box where you have those 15 forms of writing. Pick 2 and write them down. Okay, if you've not written them down, pause your video. I'm going to show you 2 of my suggestions. A book review or an editorial. Those share your opinions, particularly of books that you have read. Number 2, your purpose is to report events at a recent fire. So what could you use to report events at a fire that's happened? How about an announcement or a newspaper article? So some kind of announcement or a newspaper article. Those are 2 suggestions. If you have something different, that's probably perfectly fine. You wouldn't use something like a joke or a cartoon, right? That wouldn't really work. That wouldn't be appropriate in this situation. But maybe a journal entry, you could record the facts, maybe you give a speech, things like that. Those would still work. If your purpose is to inform your classmates about an upcoming sports event, you might write a newspaper article or give a speech. What if your purpose is to tell about twins who pretended to be each other? Okay, so if you wanted to tell about twins who pretended to be each other, what form would you use? Would you use a cartoon? Would you use a joke? Would you use an editorial? What do you think would be the most appropriate? Go ahead and pause and write down your ideas. I know I didn't give you much time for the last one. Okay, so how about a short story maybe? You could write down a short story or a play so that it could be acted out, that people could show what they did, pretending to be each other, be interesting to watch. Now, those are 2 suggestions. Okay, and our last one, purpose. The purpose is to complain about a product that does not work. A product that doesn't work. So let's say you bought a licuadora and no funciona. What would you write what form would you use so that you could complain about this? Go ahead and pause and write it down. How about an editorial? So that would be something that you would write, maybe sent into a magazine to publish that, like this is type of review to show that it does not work. Or maybe you would write a cartoon because you could write something funny about the product, showing how it didn't work. So that's an idea. Maybe you had something different. Okay, so your homework is to complete the forms of writing, page 62. Okay, complete forms of writing, page 62. You just have 5 left, and then send me the picture. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Ooh, let me make an announcement. Okay, so your next lesson is going to be the Zoom call. Your next grammar lesson is going to be our Zoom call. Remember, it's at 10 o'clock. You need to have completed your grammar page 48 from Language C. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Have completed grammar page 48 of Language C so that we can check it in your Zoom call. That's going to take up pretty much the entire Zoom call, I think, is checking that page. Because it's just 40 minutes, and then we'll be done. Okay? I look forward to seeing you. I haven't seen most of you in a long time, so it'll be fun to see you tomorrow. All right? I will see you then. Bye.